The final tennis major of the year goes down this week as the U.S. Open gets underway on Monday. So let's preview the tournament. We're going to do it with an Emmy Award-winning journalist. She's also a host who does an amazing job covering the sport of tennis. She will be present all over the Open for the next 2 weeks. It's my good friend, Michelle Yu, who joins me now. Michelle, how's it going?
Very good. Thanks for having me, Dexter.
Always good to see you. Always good to talk some tennis with you. And Michelle, I want to start with some of the major storylines for the men's and women's draw in this tournament. Let's start with the ladies. Coco Gauff, she's a defending champion. How do you assess her form and mindset entering this tournament, and what will be key for her to succeed in going back-to-back here at the U.S. Open?
Well, unfortunately for Coco Gauff fans, I don't think they want to hear this. Coco Gauff has had a pretty forgettable summer. She has not gone past the round of 16 in a tournament since mid-June. So she definitely has not had the same momentum that she had last year. Last year, she came into the tournament winning the tournament in D.C., and then she won the Cincinnati Open, and then she came in and won the U.S. Open. So definitely it's about the momentum shift. She does not have that going on this year. But I believe she said this past week during Fan Week that she believes that all the pressure is off her because she's already won this. So she said to herself, well, why give myself some pressure for something that I already have, which that's what I love about Coco Gauff. I love her attitude. I love the way she thinks. So, I mean, she can obviously make a splash here, but she really needs to get her momentum going in order to do something and repeat and defend that title here in New York City.
Yeah, and you wonder that for a player like her, like, is there something to what she said in that she already won the tournament? She's now maybe a little bit more at ease coming into this, trying to go back-to-back, but we'll see how she is and how her form is coming into this one. I want to talk to you about another lady, Naomi Osaka. She's making a comeback at this year's tournament. What does her return mean for the tournament? As somebody who has a wild card spot, do you view her as a dangerous opponent here?
Yeah, Naomi Osaka is always dangerous wherever she plays. However, things are a little bit different now. She was not the Naomi Osaka that won the tournament at Flushing Meadows a couple of years ago. She's a newish mom now, and since her return from motherhood, she has not been exactly that same explosive player that she was. She got a wild card into this tournament. In fact, the U.S. Open likes to grant wild cards to former champions. She has a very tough matchup against Jelena Ostapenko, who is a former French Open champion. Ostapenko, always a dangerous villain on the WTA Tour. She loves to play spoiler. It's going to be really hard for Naomi Osaka, and she has voiced her opinion and her thoughts and her sentiments on the state of Naomi Osaka. That's one thing about Naomi Osaka. She mentally always is very open with her fans. She actually, after the Cincinnati Open, where she played in qualifying and lost, she came on to social media and said, I'm really not where I want to be. I have breakdowns on the court, so I really need to just find that way, that path. So we all hope that Naomi Osaka will find that path, but mentally, I don't think she's quite there to win a title where she has to win 7 straight matches here in New York City.
Yeah, and she's trying to build her way back to that. We all hope that she is able to do that. Talking about another player that's had some challenges recently, Iga Swiatek, she's faced some challenges. What will it take for her to regain her confidence and compete at her best level here in New York?
Well, Iga Swiatek definitely went through some heartbreak over the summer. That's from the Olympics. She won the bronze medal, but she was the favorite to win gold. Everyone counted her to win that gold medal, and that could have changed a lot of things for her for the rest of the summer. She lost in Cincinnati. She said that that was a practice tournament for her, but you can never count out the #1 player in the world. She's mentally very tough. She's actually won this tournament before, so she knows how to win here in Flushing Meadows. And don't forget, we always say this time of year when she doesn't do that well, she won the French Open this year and defended her title. So she's not someone that, hasn't won anything this year. She's definitely held her own in 2024. She's always dangerous. I will always consider Iga Swiatek a favorite, whatever tournament she enters. So I certainly would not count her out at all.
Yeah, don't sleep on her at all going into this one. I want to move over to the men's side, Michelle. Novak Djokovic, he could very well be on the brink of winning his record 25th major. How focused do you believe the Joker is on getting it done here at the U.S. Open?
Well, that's a very interesting question, Dexter, because we have not seen Novak Djokovic play a match since that glorious moment of his at the Olympics. All he's ever wanted after beating the record of all-time major records is the Olympic gold. And he finally won that Olympic gold medal match against Carlos Alcaraz, who can forget it, at Roland Garros. And that was something that he had worked so hard for, wanted it so badly. And ever since then, I don't think I've seen him on a tennis court. I've only seen him at a club or at a restaurant celebrating. But again, Novak Djokovic doesn't need to do a lot of on-court activities these days. He can probably just step on a court and still win a Grand Slam. You can never count him out. Number 25, very much in reach for the Joker.
Yeah, very much in reach. I'm really intrigued to see what he's got left, because you talked about that epic performance that he had in the Olympics against Carlos Alcaraz, and that kind of brings me to where I'm going to transition now, because he's seeded second in this tournament. Djokovic is. Carlos Alcaraz has the third seed. The two have built up a bit of a rivalry over the past few years, and we saw another great match, as I mentioned, at the Olympics. Is Djokovic versus Alcaraz the most anticipated potential match at this year's U.S. Open?
Yeah, anytime the two of these players meet, it's a must-watch television, right? I mean, we saw it at Wimbledon, where unfortunately Djokovic did not give Alcaraz much of a match. But it's very interesting because Wimbledon and the Olympics are very different. And they're different. Why? Because it was 3 out of 5 sets at Wimbledon, and at the Olympics, it was only 2 out of 3. I'm very interested to see how Novak Djokovic can respond in a 3 out of 5 match nowadays. He's a little bit older. 37 years old, I believe. But of course, Carlo Alcaraz, only 21. So he's a lot younger than him. But at the same time, we know that Djokovic can go toe-to-toe with Alcaraz. However, the 3 out of 5 and 2 out of 3 set matches makes a difference. And of course, the U.S. Open is 3 out of 5. And if it comes down to an epic 5-setter, I'm going to have to give Carlos Alcaraz the edge there.
Yeah, it's hard to not give the younger man the edge there. We'll see how that goes, but you're right. That is must-see TV. All of us tennis fans definitely want to see that. Now, at this tournament, there are no U.S. men seated in the top 10, but there are 5 sitting just outside of it. Michelle Taylor Fritz seated at 12, Ben Shelton at 13, Tommy Paul at 14, and Sebastian Korda at 16, Frances Tiafoe at 20. Which of these American men do you believe has a legit shot at winning this tournament?
Well, I think there's 2. I think Ben Shelton, always a very fun player to watch. He, I believe, reached the quarters in Cincy. But what's important is that Ben Shelton knows how to play in Flushing Meadows. He went to the semifinals for the first time last year, made a big splash, had some good wins. He actually beat Frances Tiafoe in a 5-setter last year that was incredible. And then he went on to lose to Novak Djokovic, who eventually won the tournament last year. Speaking of Frances Tiafoe, big foe vibes. New York is the kind of place that Frances Tiafoe loves to play at. That's because it's all about the atmosphere. We know that Frances Tiafoe does so much to try to draw celebrities to come and watch tennis and promote tennis, and he's done such a fantastic job. And just last week, he reached his first ever Masters 1000 final, and he lost to Jannik Sinner, but that was expected. However, no one expected Tiafoe to make it to the final. So he definitely comes into this tournament with a lot of momentum. So definitely we expect to see Frances Tiafoe at least go into the second week of this tournament.
All right, so Tiafoe in good form. We'll see how he plays at this one. Now, we know this, Michelle, every year the U.S. Open brings surprises. So who are your dark horse picks for this year, and why might they disrupt the draws?
Well, you know, during Fan Week this week, we have seen a Beatles-like type invasion mania for Olympic gold medalist Qinwen Zhang. I mean, she's from China, and the Asian community in Flushing, it's their backyard. She has really, really made a splash this summer. She's 21 years old, of course, surprised everyone by winning gold, but not too much of a surprise to people in the tennis world because she had a great year. She reached the Australian Open final, so we know that she can definitely hit the ball. She's definitely someone that could come in here and, you know, just go through the 2-week steamroll and win the tournament. She has big strokes, and I could see her doing well here. The momentum is definitely on her side.
Yeah, so that's what I'm going to look out for. Please keep your eye on her as a dark horse there. Last thing for me, Michelle, based on current form and the draw, what are your predictions for the finalists and eventual winners for both the men's and women's singles draws in this tournament?
Well, I would like to pick Carlos Alcaraz to win this tournament. I think he got a little bit of time off. He lost early in Cincinnati, which I actually think is very good for him because sometimes tennis players just need that couple of days to reset. And it's been so hard. I mean, I say so hard. Carlos Alcaraz did win the French Open and Wimbledon, but it's so hard for a tennis player mentally to really just win all those tournaments and be expected to win. So for him to actually bow out in Cincinnati early, that could be a plus for him because now he comes in here fresh mentally and is able to, go into that second week with a better mindset. So I'm going to pick Carlos Alcaraz to win here again. He's done it before. I think he knows how to win here. He definitely knows how to win here. So I think he will come out on top. And on the women's side, I think Aryna Sabalenka is someone that is a heavy favorite. Not talked about much, but she is around. Of course, she won the Australian Open this year, and she just won the Cincinnati Open. So I feel she definitely is hitting that ball the way that she wants to. So that momentum, again, we're talking about that. It's on her side, and I've seen her in practice this week. She looks good. She looks relaxed. I saw her hitting against a good friend of her, Paula Badosa, who also could be a dark horse as well. She won in D.C. She won that tournament, first title for her in 2 years. So it's going to be an interesting draw because really anybody can win here in New York City. It's a concrete jungle, but I see Sabalenka winning on the women's side. She, by the way, lost to Coco Gauff last year, so I think she wants redemption. And I see Carlos winning it on the men's side.
I like those picks, Michelle. The U.S. Open, it is wide open. You're right. Anybody can win in the concrete jungle. Michelle going with Alcaraz and Sabalenka as the victors here. We'll see if those predictions are right. U.S. Open gets things kicked off on Monday. Should be a fun one. That is the great Michelle Yu, Emmy Award-winning journalist, tennis extraordinaire. Michelle, always good to see you. Always good to catch up with you. Thank you for the preview. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dex.